welcome back to the Lad Racing YouTube channel. We're in the poor man's shop here, the Wasp's Nest, as you guys know, watch me in the summertime, but it's cooling down. We don't have to deal with the wasps as much now as we do in the summer, but needless to say, we got replacement parts for what we've been waiting on. We got our new throwout bearing. Ain't new, close enough. It's in better shape than one we got. Those that know, we put Intimidator together and didn't have clutch for it. Come find out, some dummy that put everything together didn't have everything adjusted right. Long story short, we blew out our other throwout bearing, which is rebuildable. We're still probably going to get the kit to rebuild it, but so we pulled everything back out of the car. Never even got to put the car on the track other than having it pushed on for fan appreciation night, but it never hit the track for competition. So what we're doing is trying to put everything back together so we can have a car ready for next season, I guess. What's the plan for next season? Don't know yet. Everything seems to be up in the air. A lot of rumors floating around about this and that, so we're going to put that monster right there back in, even though I probably ought to try to find something a little cheaper and more economical, needless to say. We're going to start off with cleaning. We run a triple disc clutch setup. As you can see, the main section is bolted to the crank, and we got everything else just kind of sitting on the floor. But I originally put everything together. I was just trying to rush to get everything together. I didn't clean nothing up. It was starting to get some rust and stuff on it. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Get started cleaning things up. Hopefully get transmission bolted up. We need to check adjustments and all that for the throwout bearing. That way we don't have the same repeat issue, and we actually have a working clutch this time. So hang on, we're going to get to it. Okay, so you might be wondering the purpose of doing what we just did. Well, it's simple. Over a period of time, the material that the clutch is made out of gets hot, sticks to the plates, and over time it eventually will start causing the clutch to slip, which one of the plates actually, or disc, actually was showing signs of getting hot, which is not necessarily a good thing, but in our case, it didn't really do anything to keep the car, or to make the clutch slip. Try to say the words the way I want to put them, but it didn't really allow the clutch to slip, which is the advantage to a triple disc versus a standard single disc. That, and with the power I put out with this engine, the power and torque, a standard stock O'Reilly's AutoZone style clutch is gonna burn up quickly. I ran when his engine was still a 355, I ran a stock style aftermarket clutch, and it was good as long as I didn't run a lot of throttle. Once I started getting used to the modified, which is what this engine started off in, when I started getting used to it and get more and more into the throttle, I ran into issues with it slipping more and more, and eventually it quit grabbing altogether. So that's why we upgraded to a triple disc instead of sticking with a single disc setup. We're going to use this fancy tool, which is an alignment tool for the clutch, and get it bolted up to the crank where it should be. And then we can work on getting everything mounted back up to the transmission, get the transmission bolted up there, get things adjusted. I'm sure transmission is going to come on and off about 20 times, because the clutch, or the throwout bearing that I got from Pretty Boy, is a little bit different from the one that I typically run. Size wise, it's a little different, so I'm sure we're going to adjust out the spacing on it a little bit and go from there. So we're going to get started on that, but real quick, you just heard me mention Pretty Boy. He is selling, his car is up for sale, the 7C car. This one right here that we went for a ride in. Now, for the money that they're asking for that car, I believe race ready, I think you put your seat in it and go racing. I think they're asking $16,000 for it. It's definitely not a clunker like this one. They got a lot nicer engine set up for it. I think they got 3 different options they're offering to sell. They got with their big engine. They got one with I think just a 355, and then you can buy it as a roller. But either way, I think as a roller they're wanting $12,000 if I remember correctly. I'm going off the top of my head, but that's a great car to buy if somebody's in the market looking. You know, you guys have seen it featured on my videos. You've been in car. That car is just wild. I know some of it could have been Pretty Boy driving it, but that's a great car to somebody want to get in and go win some races with. So we're gonna work on my junk and get going, because I ain't got that kind of money. I want to kind of show you guys here. This is the Ram style throwout bearing, or if you're looking at Summit or Speedway or anything like that, they're called release bearings on there. But either way, you can see that this is the one that I had in the car. This is the new one I just got. I don't know what brand it is, so I guess I'll have to kind of guess if I ever need to get one replaced. But you can see this is why we are taking our time with this. This one is not nowhere near as thick as this one. In theory, the new one would probably be perfect in there the way I got it set up, but I might have to get some longer bolts to bolt it in here with the way this one is, because you can see this one's set up the bolt pretty close down, and this one's a lot thicker. So we're gonna put it up to the transmission, see where the difference will be on the bolts or all three that we got in there right now. See if we're going to switch over to possibly running a bolt, or what we're going to do, because like I said, these are both different style housings, and the way they're matched up here could be a different story when it's put in the car. So let's check and see how we got it. Well, we got the transmission butted up to the engine, and at the moment we are lucky with, as far as the throwout bearing, release bearing goes, that it went in. It is exactly how it needs to be in there. It's got the right space in between the bearing and the fingers on the pressure plate itself. So the real test will be after we get everything bolted, the transmission completely bolted to the engine, and get it back sitting in there and get a little boom boom going in that compartment. That's going to be when the real test is done. So that'll be the next project, getting this bolted up, getting it in there, and see if we can get a little boom boom and a little release going on. And then we can start working on other things. Ultimately, we want to get the car over in that section of the shop. One, I got a fireplace over there. It warms up a lot nicer over there. Two, I want to get that old tractor over here and get to working on it too. All right, fast forward next morning, a little cool out. Getting a little later start because it was below 30 degrees this morning when I got out of bed, but we did get transmission bolted up to the engine. Like I said before, as of right now, in theory, the throwout bearing should work, but the studs that it slides onto are not quite long enough to put nuts on the outside, which I don't see as being a problem, being that typically a throwout bearing setup for a non-triple disc deal don't have a not even bolted in either. So okay, so for a fourth time, we got the engine back in the car. We don't have a carburetor, so we can't put that on, and we got to do some modifying to get these new headers on. But I don't know if we're going to have to move these bars. We got one on that side too to get them fit, or if we're just going to get lucky and be able to pop the valve covers off to slide them down in there. So stay tuned. All right, so we went ahead and tried to pull our valve cover off and get our header in that way, at least on the passenger side. And what we discovered is this bar is in the way no matter which way we try to get the header on there. So in all reality, this bar on this side is going to come out. On the driver's side, it's a little different. Of course, the header's a little different for the driver's side too. It almost could go all the way back to where it needs to. There's the number 5, I think. Let's see, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7. Number 7. You can almost get back to the number 7 port, and but the steering column is in the way there. If you guys can see that. So what that means is to make these headers work, we're going to reroute the steering shaft. It looks like what we're going to have to do is pull the steering shaft out of the car. We may end up cutting this bar out just to make the room for the header and be sure it's going to fit. This bar here, I'm not sure what happened to it, but I'm sure I got enough tubing laying around to fix that too. You know, this up here is not super structural to, you know, really prevent damage. It helps, but it's not gonna keep the front end from getting smashed all the way back to the way it's built. That and these two upright bars on each side are welded on and not fully tube bent in. So we can make modifications if we need to up here, which it's going to happen. So that's kind of about where we're at for right now until, one, we get our carburetor back. I haven't put the cap on the distributor yet, just in case I need to pull the engine out again. And two, we got to get our headers mounted up here. I am going to find some mufflers for these headers, but that's all in time. These will be a fender exit header, meaning I'm going to have to drill a hole in the fender. Either that, or I'm going to have to run some really funky exhaust pipe to make them not exit out the fender. But either way, that's what these are. They'll be up high. A lot nicer than what the other headers were that run inside the frame, because I ultimately really couldn't get to nothing. So we're going to go ahead and wrap her up. We might make a little more progress out here, but I doubt it. But we're going to go ahead and wrap her up and get ready for work tomorrow. So God bless you guys. We'll catch you later.